韩国的服装 ENK 也是一个我很喜欢的品牌，然后它不管从设计上还是从面料上都是很优秀的。它的面料的话是一些除了韩国的面料之外，还会使用一些欧洲的优秀的面料，然后穿在身上是很舒服的。它的设计的话都是很经典，你穿几年都不会过时的设计，所以说我很喜欢。
In November, ENK was selected as the brand with the most potential in both Tokyo and Seoul. It met with customers in Parco, Tokyo's big department store, and was introduced in the Japanese version of a globally famous fashion magazine. There is another all-in-Korea fashion brand that has entered Parco. A Korean casual wear label, Core, opened 2 pop-up stores this year as part of its effort to participate in Korea's global project within department stores to support K-brands' foreign market entry. The reason for its popularity once more is the superb quality and creative design that the all-in-Korea label attests to.
男性の方が結構メインで多くて、韓国で実際にお店見られて購入された方の来店が結構多いです。結構肌触りがいいものが多いので、ニットとかだと結構着てて気持ちいいだったりとか、あとシルエットがあまりちょっと他のブランドとは被らないので、それで結構着る方は多いです。
All in Korea is the new standard for K-fashion brands. Through All in Korea, characterized by K-design, K-materials, and K-manufacturing, the government aims to realize Made in Korea in the true sense. This will revive the declining material and manufacturing industries and propel the textile and fashion industries into the new backbone industries in the future. All in Korea is a premium brand for K-fashion. At the moment, we are moving beyond an era of Made in Korea to one of All in Korea. To set the facts straight. Get Korea right.
안녕하세요. 방크에서 활동하는 박지은 연구원입니다. 한글은 600년의 역사를 가진 우리나라 고유의 문자인데요. 한글에 대해 잘 모르는 분도 많고 또 잘못된 정보를 접한 분도 꽤 있더라고요. 사이버 외교사절 딴 방크의 일원으로서 제가 한글에 대한 올바른 정보를 전달해 드릴게요. 한글은 조선 4대 왕인 세종대왕이 1443년에 창제한 글자예요. 한글은 자음과 모음으로 구성되어 있는데요. 자음은 입술, 이, 목구멍과 같이 발음기관의 모양이나 그 움직임을 본떠 만들었고요. 몸은 하늘, 땅, 사람을 본떠 만들었답니다. 한글의 창제 원리와 사용법을 써놓은 훈민정음 해례본은 1962년 대한민국 국보로 지정되었고 1997년 유네스코 세계기록유산으로 등재되었습니다. 창적이고 과학적이며 아름다운 문자인 한글, 한국인의 위대한 문화유산입니다. 한국 바로 알리기. 여러분도 함께 해주세요.
The moment we wear it, our spirits lift. It helps us grow strong in body and in mind. As we wear it, we learn patience and respect. The belt system motivates students to strive harder and continue growing. This uniform shapes movement into grace and turns performance into something thrilling. Now, embraced around the world, Taekwondo shares our culture, philosophy, and values with pride and spirit. Though it may seem simple, this uniform holds your passion and your journey. It belongs to Taekwondo. Wear the extraordinary. Be with Taekwondo.
President Lee Jae-myung has vowed to nurture Korean food as a strategic export industry, pointing out the potential of K-food and its exports that have already hit an all-time high as of last month. The National Assembly is marking the last day of its regular session today. A plenary session is still ongoing, with the main opposition People Power Party launching a filibuster. Those who live alone here in South Korea made up around 36% of all households in the country in 2024, the single largest household category. President Lee Jae-myung, presiding over a weekly cabinet meeting focused on promoting K-food exports, vowed to turn the business into a strategic export item. Our Yoon Jung-min leads our coverage tonight.
Nurturing K-food as a strategic export industry. That was the key message from President Lee Jae-myung during a weekly cabinet meeting that mainly focused on discussing measures to promote exports of K-food.
올해 들어서 지난달까지 K-푸드 수출의 규모가 역대 최고 실적을 갱신했다고 합니다. 입맛을 사로잡는 것은 마음을 사로잡는 것이다.
He added that interest in K-food originates from the popularity of K-culture, and it contributes to an increase in exports, stressing the importance of promoting Korea on a global scale.
관계부처는 해외 마케팅, 물류 지원, 관광 연계 상품 개발, 지식재산권 보호 강화 같은 종합 지원 방안을 마련하면 좋겠습니다.
A special planning bureau dedicated to K-food exports will soon be launched. Other than diversifying export markets and items, an idea has been floated regarding creating a school to nurture chefs to meet the growing demand.
We suggest creating a famous Korean food school, tentatively called Sura School.
President Lee instructed his officials to review establishing specialized schools for K-food cooking classes. Other discussions included exporting surplus rice, as Lee said rice prices in Japan have tripled.
우리나라는 쌀 남아서 맨날 시끄럽죠. 일본도 계약제비 수출하면 어때요?
Also on the table for Tuesday were methods to improve voting rights for overseas Koreans, such as expanding polling stations and introducing mail-in or electronic voting, as the president instructed his officials to make sure no one feels left alone. Yoon Jung-min, Arirang News.
Now, speaking of K-food, First Lady Kim Hye-kyung hosted a kimjang or kimchi making event on Tuesday for the spouses of foreign ambassadors to South Korea. In her opening remarks, Kim highlighted that kimjang is a UNESCO-inscribed cultural heritage, describing it as a festival-like tradition that brings families and neighbors together. At Tuesday's event, which included kimchi making and tasting, was attended by the First Lady and the spouses of 11 ambassadors, including those from Argentina, Australia, and Canada. Police searched the headquarters of e-commerce giant Coupang Incorporated following a massive breach of personal information. And a related committee looking into the case will summon Coupang founder and chairman Kim Bum-seok as a key witness for a hearing next Wednesday. Cha Yoon-kyung has more.
Police searched the headquarters of e-commerce giant Coupang Incorporated on Tuesday over a massive breach of personal information that affected around 34 million people. The Seoul Metropolitan Police Agency's cyber investigation team sent 17 officers to the company's headquarters in southern Seoul to search for internal documents and records related to the breach. Police have reportedly been tracking down the suspect behind the leak to check for possible lapses in Coupang security after securing the Internet Protocol address and server logs that were used. There's a possibility that the search and seizure might take more than a day due to the amount of information stolen. The National Assembly Science, ICT, Broadcasting, and Communications Committee will summon Coupang founder and chairman Kim Bum-seok as a key witness at a hearing on December 17th into his company's massive personal data breach. A total of 10 people will be summoned for the hearing, including Coupang executives Kim, CEO Park Tae-jun, and expert witnesses. Kim did not appear at a related inquiry held at the National Assembly on the 2nd and 3rd, so it is still uncertain whether he will attend the upcoming hearing. Meanwhile, Daeryun, a South Korean law firm, has officially announced plans to file a lawsuit against Coupang in a U.S. federal court along with its U.S. branch, SJKP, during a press conference held in New York City on Monday local time. The firm said it has already secured over 200 plaintiffs and intends to pursue simultaneous litigation in both South Korea and the United States. 차윤경, Arirang News.
The elderly population is growing, and with the number of those under 30 that choose to stay unmarried or marry late, the number of single-person households continues to rise in South Korea, with more than 8 million people living alone last year. Yoon-jin has more.
Government data based on an annual survey released on Tuesday showed that in 2024, there were 8.05 million single-person households in South Korea. People living by themselves made up around 36% of all households, making them the largest household category. Statistics Korea defines single-person households as one person who lives alone, earns their own income, cooks for themselves, and sleeps alone, a complete independent unit. Almost 20% of these single-person households were aged 70 or older, while 17.8% were aged 29 and under, making it the second consecutive year where the number of older single households exceeded the younger group. The increase in elderly single-person households has also led to increased demand for welfare services. With more than 60% of single-person households employed, the average annual income of people who live alone came to 34.23 million won. That's roughly $23,288. While this was a 6.2% jump from the previous year, it still stood at just 46.1% of the overall average income of all households. Single-person households have become the most common form of households in Korea recently, increasing in proportion by approximately 1 percentage point each year since it first exceeded 30% in 2019. Figures for 2024 showed an increase of 0.6% in the proportion of single-person households compared to the previous year, with the proportion of two-person households also rising by 0.2 percentage points. In contrast, the proportion of three-person and four or more person households decreased by 0.2 percentage points and 0.8 percentage points, respectively. By region, 42.7% of single-person households were concentrated in Seoul and Gyeonggi-do Province. A source from the Ministry of Data and Statistics said that single-person households continue to increase due to the population aging, the increase in unmarried people, as well as later marriages. The survey also showed that nearly half of all people living alone said they often or sometimes feel lonely. 이은진, Arirang News.
As we head toward the end of the year, the National Assembly is also wrapping up its regular session today. Yet, contentious issues still remain with both the ruling party and the main opposition party refusing to back down. To discuss more on this, we have our political correspondent An Sung-jin. Welcome, Sung-jin.
Thank you for having me, Dami.
So, Sung-jin, what is exactly happening at the National Assembly tonight?
Right, Tommy. So to walk us through, today marks the last day of the regular session at the National Assembly, and a plenary session is currently underway at the moment as we speak. But the People Power Party had initiated a filibuster at the beginning of the session, which I will further explain. But to first give a recap of the day, the plenary session was supposed to start at 2 p.m., but the two main parties failed to reach an agreement on the agenda. So the leaders of the ruling and main opposition parties, as well as the National Assembly Speaker Won-sik, agreed to postpone the session to 4 p.m. However, as the session kicked off when the DP moved forward with the controversial Franchise Business Act provision, the PPP launched a filibuster in response. Now, the first speaker in the filibuster that got her microphone cut off as the National Assembly Speaker deemed her remarks unrelated to the franchise bill. Now, other PPP lawmakers approached the Speaker to protest the decision. The National Assembly had planned to open its afternoon plenary session to process 3 government guarantee approvals along with 59 bills. However, the PPP filed for a filibuster on all 59 bills, bringing proceedings to a halt. Though we saw this coming, as earlier the PPP made it clear that if the DP pushed forward with any contentious legislation, it would launch a filibuster against any bill brought to the floor, including non-contentious ones.
I see. Then, Songjin, what can we expect to see in the coming days?
Right. So first, the filibuster for the plenary session will automatically adjourn at midnight as the session ends today.
Right.
And the bills will be put to vote at the first plenary session of the December extraordinary session, which will begin tomorrow. National Assembly Speaker Won-sik announced last week that the 430th extraordinary session of the National Assembly will convene at 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Well, I do have to say, it seems like negotiations will continue for a while. Songjin, thanks for the wrap-up today.
My pleasure as always, Dami.
After a years-long tug-of-war between Washington and Beijing over the export of high-performance AI chips to China, U.S. President Donald Trump has given the green light for China to receive NVIDIA's second-best artificial intelligence chip, the H200. Our Park Jun-han has more.
In a move that weighs the balance between U.S. economic interests and national security, U.S. President Donald Trump conditionally approved on Monday local time NVIDIA's export of its H200 artificial intelligence chips to China. The H200 semiconductor is NVIDIA's second-best AI chip behind its current Blackwell series. President Trump, through his social media channel Truth Social, said the U.S. government will allow NVIDIA to ship its H200 chips to approved customers in China, a proposal to which President Xi Jinping has responded positively. In return for the approval, the U.S. government will collect a 25% fee on those sales. Trump said the fees will be used to support American jobs, strengthen U.S. manufacturing, and benefit American taxpayers. He added that NVIDIA's current Blackwell chips and next-generation Rubin series are not part of the export approval. And the same framework will also apply to U.S. chip makers such as AMD and Intel. When the news broke that the U.S. Commerce Department was set to approve the China sales, NVIDIA's stock rose about 2% in after-hours trading on expectations that the company could see increased revenue. In a statement responding to Trump's announcement, NVIDIA's spokesman said on Monday, "We applaud President Trump's decision to allow America's chip industry to compete to support high-paying jobs and manufacturing in America." Back in August, U.S. chip giants NVIDIA and AMD agreed to pay 15% of their revenue from certain less advanced chips exported to China to the U.S. government. However, that deal stalled after the Chinese government effectively banned the use of the chips over security concerns. Park Jun-han, Arirang News.
In neighboring Japan, authorities there withdrew their tsunami warnings earlier on this Tuesday after a powerful earthquake shook the country's northeastern region late Monday, hurting dozens of people and forcing thousands to evacuate. Pyongyang reports.
A magnitude 7.5 earthquake struck off the coast of Aomori Prefecture in northeastern Japan late on Monday night, shaking wide areas across the north of Honshu. It struck at around 11:15 p.m., and the epicenter was located at a depth of 54 kilometers. A strong magnitude 6.4 aftershock was recorded at 6:52 a.m. on Tuesday morning, followed by further aftershocks. Japanese officials now say the number of injured has risen to at least 30. One residential fire has been confirmed, and authorities warned the number of casualties and scale of damage may rise. Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi said the government is closely monitoring the situation and urged residents to take precautionary measures.
I immediately instructed that timely and accurate information regarding tsunamis and evacuation be provided to the public, that measures to prevent damage, such as evacuation of residents, be fully implemented, that the extent of damage be ascertained as swiftly as possible.
Takaichi also called on the public to protect their own lives first, urging residents to review evacuation routes, secure furniture, and remain prepared to flee immediately in the event of further shaking. Japanese authorities have also issued a rare advisory warning of possible large aftershocks in the Hokkaido Sanriku offshore region, using an alert system introduced in 2022 for zones where major trench earthquakes are historically expected. Around 90,000 residents in Hokkaido, Aomori, and Iwate prefectures were ordered to evacuate overnight. Chief Cabinet Secretary Minoru Kihara said the government has activated a response office inside the Prime Minister's Crisis Management Center and convened an emergency team to support rescue and relief efforts. Several bullet train services along the northeastern coast have been suspended. Japanese authorities also informed the International Atomic Energy Agency that no abnormalities were detected at the disabled Fukushima nuclear facility. Pyongyang, Arirang News.
South Korean director Park Chan-wook's latest film, No Other Choice, and Netflix animated film K-pop Demon Hunters landed major nominations at the 2026 Golden Globe Awards. Our Kim Bo-kyung tells us more.
South Korea's best-known director Park Chan-wook's film No Other Choice and Netflix's animated film K-pop Demon Hunters have officially been nominated in 3 categories of the Golden Globe each. According to the Golden Globe's official website on Monday local time, director Park's dark thriller was nominated for Best Motion Picture in the categories of musical or comedy, where it will compete against 5 rivals: Blue Moon, Begonia, Marty's Scream, Nouvelle Vague, and One Battle After Another. It has also received a nomination for the non-English category, competing against 5, including the Brazilian film The Secret Agent and It Was Just an Accident. The lead actor of No Other Choice, Lee Byung-hun, received a nomination for Best Performance by a male actor in the musical or comedy categories as well. This marks the first time in 3 years that a Korean film has been nominated at the Golden Globes since Park's Decision to Leave, which was nominated for Best Non-English Language Film in 2023. Bong Joon-ho's Parasite in 2020 and Lee Isaac-chung's Minari in 2021 previously won in this category. Meanwhile, K-pop Demon Hunters was nominated for Best Animated Feature Film along with 5 other films, including Zootopia 2 and Arco, among others. It has also been nominated for Best Original Song with its lead track Golden and for the cinematic and box office achievement. First held in 1944, the Golden Globe Awards are a prestigious ceremony that evaluates achievements in film and television worldwide. A little less than 400 international voting members participate in the judging process. The 83rd Golden Globe Awards will take place on January 11th next year. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
Special exhibitions featuring the artwork of a Korean Catholic priest Kim Jang, best known for his unique approach to stained glass, are taking place in Seoul until the end of this month. His works have long stood out for their distinct style, setting them apart from traditional stained glass art. Our culture correspondent Park Kwon-woo has more.
Vividly colored paint on glass that seems to tell a story or a poem. This is how Catholic priest and artist Kim In-jung has worked for decades, using oil pigments and brushes to create colors as radiant and transparent as light itself. His pieces look slightly different from traditional stained glass that's typically assembled by joining small pieces of colored glass together with lead. 2 special exhibitions, Poetry of Light and Light for Life, now running through this Christmas in 2 separate museums in Seoul, offer rare opportunities to appreciate Kim's work close up, including several being shown for the first time. A notable fact is that all the artwork on display is deliberately left untitled for a good reason. Behind me are Kim's latest artworks, which are also left intentionally untitled, allowing each viewer to step in with no preconceptions, just a pure personal encounter with the light and color before them.
I've been going through a dark period, feeling trapped. So I was finding a way to release some of that pressure, and this exhibition helped me out. It reminded me of a crane taking flight, so if I could name the piece, I'd call it Rise.
Although Kim is well known for his works on glass, his artistic practice extends to a variety of media, including canvas. And one remarkable characteristic of his work is the fusion of East and West.
European audiences say his art feels completely different from typical abstract or figurative works. The empty spaces reflect what influenced him since childhood, and he often uses thick calligraphy brushes along with vivid Western-style colors. These elements give his art a truly unique texture.
Kim's works throughout the years have been installed in around 50 cathedrals across Europe, including Chartres Cathedral. Now at 85 years old and living with hearing loss, he continues to work passionately, currently in France and Korea, showing no signs of slowing down. Though his pieces remain untitled, the emotions and reflections they evoke continue to illuminate those who stand before them, and perhaps that in the end is the very title he intended. 박건우, Arirang News.
Another cold snap hit this morning, with temperatures dropping below zero across the country. Seoul started at minus 2.4 degrees Celsius, right on par with what we normally see this time of year. Morning temperatures will climb back up to the ever-freezing levels both tomorrow and Thursday, and highs will hover at nearly 10 degrees, so there's no major cold spell ahead. A wildfire alert remains in effect nationwide. In addition, the East Coast is under dry weather warnings with strong winds adding to the risk. Extra caution is necessary to prevent any wildfires. Seoul and Gwangju will start off at 1 degree tomorrow morning, Chuncheon at minus 4 degrees. Daily highs will rise to 10 degrees in Seoul, 12 degrees in Daejeon, Daegu, and Gyeongju. Later in the week, frequent rain and snow are forecast around the country. That's it for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is all we have for tonight. I'm Kim Dami. From all of us here at Arirang, thanks for watching and good night.
The moment we wear it, our spirits lift. It helps us grow strong in body and in mind. As we wear it, we learn patience and respect. The belt system motivates students to strive harder and continue growing. This uniform shapes movement into grace and turns performance into something thrilling. Now, embraced around the world, Taekwondo shares our culture, philosophy, and values with pride and spirit. Though it may seem simple, this uniform holds your passion and your journey. It belongs to Taekwondo. Wear the extraordinary. Be with Taekwondo.
Knock knock! The magical door to the world of K-animation is swinging wide open. Meet your instant new BFF, the adorable Catch. Tina Ping will have you hooked from the very first glance. Need a hand? Our Robocar Pony Rescue team is always zooming in to save the day. How about tagging along on Pinkfong and Pal's super exciting quest to reclaim their lost magic? With the mysterious life forms Kebion by your side, you can become a Kebion master and save humanity like the total hero. Protecting children's innocence while igniting their boundless imaginations. That's the magic of Korean animation. K-animation, the ultimate bestie for kids worldwide.
Welcome to Within the Frame, where we bring the most pressing issues across the globe into focus. I'm Kim Mo-kyun. The age of artificial intelligence isn't just coming, it's here, and it's already rewriting the rules of cybersecurity, labor, and public trust. Just a few weeks ago, a major report by Anthropic revealed that an AI model was tricked into executing a near-autonomous cyber attack, planning, adapting, and breaching targets with little human input. Now, since the release of ChatGPT, phishing attacks have surged over 4,000%, with AI now weaponized in everything from deepfakes to targeted surveillance. Governments around the world are scrambling to respond. South Korea is also racing to finalize its AI Basic Act by January, while also launching a National Safety Research Institute. But as AI's impact moves faster than regulation can catch up, a critical question emerges. So how do we design a future where AI is both powerful and safe at the same time? For a deeper discussion on this, we are joined in the studio by Andrew Lim, Research and Innovation Attaché at Quebec Government Office in Seoul. A big welcome.
It's good to be back.
And also joining us in the studio is Filibuster, a Senior Director at Law Zero to my right. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Thank you for joining us. So let's start right away. Yeah. So like I've said, AI moves into everything in our lives, from healthcare to even defense, and concerns around its safety are rising day by day. So could you tell us, to start off, what changed in how we talk about AI risks today?
Yes. So I think one of the biggest shifts is the fact that people have started interacting with these chatbots. They're using ChatGPT more and more. And from that, we are moving from more specific safety considerations about AI and specific use cases like autonomous car to more generic consideration or fundamental considerations. And so what we've seen is some behaviors are being adopted by these chatbots. They're using natural language, and people respond emotionally to natural language. They can be influenced, and they're seeing that right now. So the question becomes, like, to take the example of the Anthropic attack you talked about, is there something like an autonomous AI that could come out of this? And how do we prevent that? So yes, it's definitely shifting towards more of these fundamental risks. Sometimes we say catastrophic risks, and this is exactly the kind of things we are looking for at Law Zero as a research institute.
Definitely. So these concerns aren't just theoretical anymore. It's becoming really a very big concern in our daily lives. So, Mr. Lim, South Korea, like I've said, are launching its own AI Safety Institute and also preparing for the AI Basic Act. Why is AI safety becoming such a big national priority in this country?
A very good question. Just to piggyback on what Philip said, we're starting to actually see AI in our lives now. ChatGPT, obviously, people are starting to create their own promotional videos through ChatGPT or other types of AI software. So people are starting to actually use AI, and from there, they're starting to see some of the externalities or negative impacts on AI. You mentioned some of them earlier, like cybersecurity issues. There's also deep fake issues, also issues like how should children be using AI? These big issues are starting to come out because we are actually starting to use AI and see the impact. I think there's lots of news on like how AI impacts education. At university, if you write an essay, sure, you should be allowed to use some AI tools to do maybe basic research. But what if this AI tool writes your entire essay for you? So there's these kind of problems people have to start thinking about, and they actually, start to actually face these issues these days. Also, you mentioned cybersecurity issues is very big. Phishing attacks, people use generated AI videos nowadays to become someone's mom and ask for money, this kind of stuff. A very big issue, and it's having a very big negative impact on society, where we first started to use AI for technology. Very good, makes our lives easier, but now we see that there are some negative impacts. So these are some things we have to really take into consideration.
Definitely. Now let's go back a little bit to the recent Anthropic case again, Mr. Boudoir. The case saw AI being tricked into hacking its own, and it was definitely a big turning point. What do you think that actually tells us about the current state of AI safeguards?
Yeah, so when you look at that case in details, what you realize is that the AI developed an unexpected goal. it was tricked into doing a cyber attack, but the reason it was tricked into cyber attack is, it's a language using system, and it looks like any language using system will develop some kind of personality, and part of it will be to keep existing, like to keep going. So we saw language being used in that direction, but also this means these systems can be tricked into doing things like a cyber attack in an autonomous fashion. So what this means really is that we have to be aware that this is not a theoretical risk anymore. This is something that's happening in existing systems, and it's fundamental. It's fundamental to the way these systems are built to use language. There is this belief or this proof in science, the science of AI, that any language-using system will develop these goals. So we have to invest in the kind of AI safety research that builds safe AI by design, which is not what we see in the current big labs, the frontier labs like OpenAI and stuff like that. So at Law Zero, this is what we're doing. We're looking at ways to build a new kind of AI that wouldn't be trained in the same way and would not exhibit these emerging goals. And we believe that this is a direction in which regulators and state investment should look into, so that we actually have the safeguards that are apt to save problems like this.
So if I may just see if I got it right. So making the AI have the safeguards from the beginning of its development.
Exactly, right? Because when you build it as an afterthought, or even if you develop these things as chatbots, you will always run into the problems we're seeing now. So if you develop them radically differently, we may be able to evade them, and that's why we're doing this approach at Law Zero.
Thank you for that clarification. So the more we talk about it, it seems like the safeguard of this AI is very important. And South Korea, in fact, wants to make safety a very big part of its competitive edge, Mr. Lim. How do you think, what's the best way to create policy that actually protects people, builds trust, but still leaves space for innovation?
Yes, exactly. Very good question, because we always see too much regulation, too little innovation. Yes, that's the big problem. But I think the most important thing is open consultation. Yes, government, there are experts in AI there as well, but it's not like everyone knows everything. So you have to consult with professors, experts in the field. If it's startup, you have to actually talk to the start, not just the most global unicorn one, talk to little guys to really get a sense of how this is going on in the field. So for example, the Quebec and Canada case, we have an entity called Avia. It's actually a Quebec mandated institute that actually researches the social impact on AI. Yes, technology is very important too, but we need to know the social impact so that the government could make regulation or do some mitigating laws. So there's a professor from Avia that's from Laval University, actually here in Korea. She's actually doing a research research professorship in Korea University. Yes, we established this collaboration with the Cybersecurity Center there, and she's actually doing research on how Quebec, Canada, but also how does Korea do AI in terms of social impacts? What kind of laws do they have? What kind of educational programs they have to nurture the children so that they don't fall into some issues with AI? So there's a lot of consultation going on in Quebec and Canada, and that person is actually here to learn from Korea, but also international as well, do reports, also tell Korea how Quebec and on a wider field, Canada is doing these kind of things too. So I think this kind of international collaboration in terms of having experts to see how AI actually impacts their each ecosystems, I think that's extremely important, because we need to learn from each other. That's extremely important. Other things, maybe to make the policies more natural, do joint research programs together. So startups, maybe one from Quebec, one from Korea, as they do the actual research, they'll naturally see some of these challenges, and they could raise this issue to the higher ups to get these kind of regulations in place. So I think international collaboration is very important to share knowledge, to see how we could actually do this together.
Definitely, since this AI technology is new for everyone in the world.
Impacts everyone.
Right. So as we've been speaking about the threats that are rising with the development of AI, like deepfakes, phishing, and data leaks also, what do you think is actually driving that shift, Mr. Boudouang? And why do you think the efforts for defenses are kind of falling behind.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if you look at the way AI has made progress up until now, it has been a question of scale. In AI, we call them scaling laws, but really it means that the more data we have, the more compute we have, the more powerful the system becomes. And as they become powerful, it means these spear phishing attacks, these deep fake attacks, misinformation, all that becomes easier to generate, but also more credible. The video we can create with AI today are more credible than the ones from a few years ago. And again, this is all driven by scale up until now. What we're seeing, though, is that these scaling laws may be reaching their limit. And so maybe we will switch to smaller models that will be as efficient as the large ones we have today. This is a good news from an environmental perspective, but it's a bad news when you're thinking about these attacks because it makes them cheaper, more accessible. And so we will see them being deployed at a larger scale. Now, these attacks are hard to stop technically because being able to generate text and videos is something that people want to do with the technology. It's something useful in many contexts. So we need probably to look at the regulation themselves, and we need to start regulating either AI companies, but also the mechanisms through which these attacks happen. For example, social networks. Social networks right now have very few regulation when it comes to the use of deceptive AI content, but maybe we have to look into this. And naturally, education is a big part of this. We need to exercise our critical thinking a lot more than we used to in a world where fake content or misinformation is so much easier to create.
Definitely. So we've been saying the AI tools can be used both for good and also for harm. Where do you think we can actually draw the line on that? What kind of governance actually would work in this scenario?
Yeah, so it's not easy to define like how to do good governance. What we strongly believe into at Law Zero is that when you invest in safe AI by design, you're investing in the right direction. Like the kind of AI we're building at Law Zero means that like it can only in a certain way be used for good given the governance is good. Because what we're doing is we're building what we call a scientist AI, whose objective is to look at the situation with an AI system and predict the future, right? That's what AI is really good at. It's predicting the future. So we're predicting the future, and then a governance mechanism can look at it and decide if it's a desirable future for us or not. And such, like we believe that investment in non-market driven progress, like the nonprofit that we're building at Law Zero, is very, very important in order to ensure a safer future with the technology.
So with this, we're really seeing a lot of national regulation going on. But beyond that, Mr. Lim, you stressed that international coordination is very important a while ago. Where do you think Korea could actually take the lead from that?
That's a very good question. I think we have to look at Korea for its uniqueness in the world. For example, conglomerates. Yes, other countries have this kind of system too, but especially Korea has their Samsung, LGs, so we could tap into them to actually drive AI safety from the beginning. It could be, for example, Samsung makes Galaxy phones, obviously, and you could, and I'm sure you know now, there's Galaxy AI. You could do like a photo editing, whatnot, all these things. Maybe you could embed AI safety right from the get-go in this actual Galaxy phone. So maybe when they try to use some ChatGPT to do certain activities that are maybe illegal or wrong, they could actually catch that from the beginning and tell them, hey, this is not the right way to go. Maybe you could go this way, or other activities that you might do on this phone, they could actually have AI safety embedded from the beginning. I think this is something maybe some of the conglomerates, because they actually make consumer products that people use today. So I think that's one way to go. And yes, Canada and Quebec has companies too, but it's Korea's, what's really unique is their conglomerates. So they could actually put this in LG appliances, for example, as well. They have many products that's already around in the world, so they could actually embed this as well. But other thing that make Korea and Quebec and in large extent Canada unique is its middle power status, for example. Maybe if US as a superpower, they do some AI initiative, maybe some may feel a bit threatened. Maybe US does many things, maybe they're too powerful, whatnot. But a middle power like Korea and to a large extent Canada, they do drive these kind of initiatives. Maybe it's not as threatening. Korea is not gonna put tariffs on anybody. Korea is a very peaceful, innovative country. So I think we could use this kind of geopolitical status to kind of drive this kind of AI safety, AI ethics as well.
Of course, with the help of other countries.
Yes.
Right. Now, let's also talk about small startups. Startups are moving fast, but sometimes going fast and looking after safety is kind of, there could be some gap on that. What does responsible innovation actually look like at the early stage?
Yes, we often say move fast and break things, right? That's the motto of startups. And I actually think this is their advantage. It's the way in which they work best. And if we ask them to change too much, it might not be the best way, because what startups are good is moving fast, following their market, going where the money is. So what might be a better approach is to actually make sure there is money in innovation for AI safety. So we encourage governments to think hard about investing in AI safety, creating a market there. First of all, it's going to be valuable for the future. Any country that moves quickly in that space is bound to see benefits in the near future when these catastrophic risks become more and more important. But by creating a market, by investing in some ways into innovation for safe AI by design, they are enabling some of these startups to really shine. In the case of Law Zero, we structured it as a nonprofit in order to free ourselves from these market pressures. We are being funded mostly through philanthropy, but we actually believe we need much more funding sources to get behind these efforts so that we can make sure that we build a safe future for our children, for everybody to enjoy. Because again, the kind of situation that you talked about with Hentropic is going to become more and more frequent, and we will realize that language-driven AI is always bound to create difficult situations like that.
A very important note. So building up a whole market on AI safety would definitely be of good help, and also help the public realize and be aware of the importance of AI safety as well. Now, finally, there are also calls to expand AI responsibility beyond models, so that includes other like labor conditions, environmental costs, and also community impact. So, Mr. Lim, do you think we actually now need a wider definition of AI safety?
Oh, definitely. I mean, like maybe a few years ago, AI wasn't everywhere, but AI is literally everywhere now, from, as you mentioned, automated vehicles, image generation, even like, oh, can you write a better email for me? So it's encompassing everything. So I think AI safety needs to expand its field as well, quite a lot. Some examples are, for example, jobs, for example. I think it's a big issue for everybody around the world. AI, some say, may, and it's starting to kind of take away jobs for the young people. Maybe the AI could do the jobs that young people, like entry-level jobs, may be able to do. But this is a big issue, because if young people don't have jobs, who will support the next generation? How will we be able to nurture the next leaders? Maybe mid-managers will use AI instead of these entry-level people, but so they won't be able to learn from the manager. I think these big issues, from like jobs to climate change, it's everywhere. I think AI is everything. So we have to take safety into consideration in the beginning so that it doesn't cause big problems later. Even startups too, if they think about AI safety when they're doing their algorithm or whatnot, they don't have to fix things later. And fixing things later always costs probably more money than if you plan it out ahead. So I think considering all these things, I think AI safety should encompass everything.
Definitely. A very important note to close our discussion tonight. Thank you so much for your insights, Mr. Lim. And of course, Mr. Woodwang, thank you so much for your time tonight.
You're very welcome.
And that'll be all from us on Within the Frame. Be sure to tune in again next time as we continue to explore the stories that matter. Until then, stay informed and engaged.
How to survive in Korea. Cafes. Step 1. Find a seat. Before ordering, find a seat. Laptop ID, smartphone, jacket, whatever that can mark your territory. But no bites. It's a little too big. Step 2. Pick up. We do not ask or call your name. We call out, B69 고객님. The buzzer will vibrate when your order is ready at the counter. Wait, got your straw? Keep the top of the wrapper on. Doing this is more hygienic. Step 3. Cafe etiquette. If you need to use your laptop, find a seat next to a socket. No extra charge for using electricity. But if you're staying over 3 hours, how about ordering another drink or dessert? Step 4. Last bite standing. There's a mysterious custom in Korea. The last bite standing. When there's about 1 bite left of that cake, nobody will go for it. You might be tempted, but don't be hasty. Right before you get up, take the last piece saying that you simply can't waste food, or just leave it. It will save a few calories. Did you survive at the cafe? Did someone behind the counter catch your eye? Go for the same drink every single day.
오늘도 아이스 말차 라떼 드실 거죠?
You might make an impression,